Welcome to Amigathon 2021. I am John Bodovkar Schaller, joined by Amigo Aaron.
I think you've got a few more days before 2121 kicks off.
I'm sorry, guys. It was a long show. Jeez. All right, welcome to ARG Presents. I'm Amigo Aaron, joined by the Brent. How's it going, the Brent?
I'm very tired.
You're tired? Are you
After
kidding
watching
me?
Amigathon, I watched all the other Amigathons. Back to back to back to back.
How's that possible?
I compressed time.
Yeah, you must have. Gosh, how many total hours would those have ran? We've had two 12s, a 24, and a 10. That's what is it, 48, 58 hours? Something like that. I can't add. It's a lot, y'all. It's a lot of time. Hey, we want to thank everybody who showed up yesterday in force, in mass, to raise $5,300 US, Brent, for the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. We want to thank all the people that helped us out. Our good buddy Retro Man Cave, aka Neil, and our good buddy Amiga Bill. And we also want to thank Mr. Pleasance for stopping by and giving out goodies. And also Neil gave out goodies. We also want to thank Pixels at Dawn for his great work behind the scenes. Of course, we want to thank John Bodovkar Schaller, who cobbled this together like a master watchmaker, Brent, with all these moving parts and crap. He's working on watches while I'm playing with Tinker Toys, if you know what I'm saying. I also want to thank our good buddy Dreamcatcher, who really came up with the whole concept of the charity event so many years ago. We appreciate you, DK. He's been around forever. It was a fun time, Brent. It was a worthy cause, and hopefully we can keep it going next year. But in between, we'll talk about our Thanks for Giving Marathon, which is our event in November for ARG, which is just a fun time. But we'll get more into that as the event draws nearer. So, if you joined us last week, Brent, one of those events happened, a cataclysmic event on this show. It was Chat Choice. Chat Choice, inevitably followed by a show that just dies a death. But by God, we're going to give it another shot this year. And Brent, what did the people want to see again?
The people only want to see one thing ever, and that's Amstrad, Amstrad, Amstrad.
It's all Amstrad all the time, Brent. They love Amstrad. So let's go over the list here. We originally covered the Amstrad way back on episode 89, where we took a look at Roland Goes Digging and Pinball Dreams, Brent.
Yes.
That was a good one. Actually, that's not true. That was the second time we covered it. The first time we covered it was way back in episode 12. This was me and the boat, Brent, when we covered Spin, Dizzy, and Gryzor. So you weren't even around for that one. That's just how long ago that was. So this week, the people have spoken, and the people demand more Amstrad. I don't know if there's a lot of people out there doing a lot of Amstrad coverage now that I think about it. It's not like I hear a lot. I know the guys over at Retro Asylum have touched on it a few times, but I haven't seen anyone I don't know if there's a dedicated Amstrad podcast or anything like that. So hey, that may be a future bit. Don't let the boat hear.
No,
or I'll be
no.
You'll get me again, Brent. So.
I'm kind of glad that we have done two other Amstrad episodes.
Yeah.
With a total of at least 3 good games, maybe 4. Because now we're going to punish the Amstrad fans.
What? Now wait a minute. Now we'll don't skip don't jump the shark here. Of course we've went over the Amstrad many times. Just a quick rundown. The Amstrad CPC. Came out in 1984, 35 years ago, Brent says here, and sold 3 million units. That's not bad. That's not a bad deal. We actually have one of these bad boys over at the Boat's place. They're a handsome unit. It's got the cassette deck built in there, wacky colored keys, all the colors of the rainbow represented there, Brent, on the old Amstrad, and it falls in line with a lot of the British computers of the day. It's often in the same little breath as the ZX Spectrum and C64. It's funny. It's really its own machine if you play it. I mean, I've played quite a bit of Amstrad, and to me, it's somewhere firmly in the middle of the. And I don't mean above or below. I just mean in the middle of the Spectrum and the C64. But it was notoriously screwed repeatedly, Brent, by the fact that a lot of the games that got made for it were crummy ports from the other two machines.
Yes,
and that sucks because this thing's got a lot to give. I think Pinball Dreams proved that this machine was more than capable of doing some pretty awesome stuff.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, and it's somewhat unfortunate. In fact, it's very unfortunate. This really shouldn't even be put into the same category as the Spectrum, in my opinion.
Oh, really?
I think it's far above the Spectrum.
Oh my, controversial indeed. I think its capabilities are probably a little bit further ahead than the Spectrum. From what I've read, now listen, I know this may stun and amaze, but I am not a professional programmer, Brent, just a mere man. But from what I've read and what I've heard, part of the problem is that the conversion of this of games to the Amstrad could go two ways. You can have a proper conversion where you like do the extra work it takes to get everything rolling, or you can do sort of a crap conversion where you don't take the extra steps and everything plays like garbage.
Yep.
So there you go. And guess what? Most people took the path of least resistance, and it was garbage time. So the Amstrad, one of those systems that just never was able to reach its full potential, just because of the existence of the other sort of more popular machines.
Well, and there you go. You said the word of the hour. The Amstrad was not popular as the other machines, which in turn, we all know what that equals out to. Less attention from developers.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So, with all that said, we're just going to jump right in this week, y'all, to this Amstrad cavalcade. Now, Brent, I've got to say, you've picked an unusual title here. So we're gonna let you be the man. You're gonna be curtain jerking today. What did you bring to the table?
I was drawn to this game due to its improper spelling of the word Doppleganger.
Yeah, here it is. So, what in God's name is this, Brent? Can you please?
It is okay. Let's get the nitty gritty out of the way. This was developed and published by Alligator Software.
Say that again.
In 1985. This is a Amstrad exclusive. There are games called Doppelganger on many other systems, but not this particular game. So, there aren't a whole lot of Amstrad exclusives out there. In fact, the list is single digit, I believe, from what I was able to find. Yeah. And it is described as an action-adventure game set in an isometric viewpoint where you're walking diagonals instead of up and down on the screen. And you are a sorcerer who is imprisoned in a castle, and you're tasked with collecting ingots, metal ingots, throughout the castle. That is the goal of the game. The spin of the game is you have a doppelganger, which don't think like a mirror image of yourself. It's more like a spiritual version of yourself, a ghostly image of yourself. So you control two characters, which that's pretty interesting. And you do switch between them. You can't control them both at the same time. And the reason why you need to do this is the castle that you're stuck in, some areas only your spiritual form can get in, and the rest of the areas, you walk around in as a human. The game conceptually is incredibly interesting. having you and your ghostly doppelganger there is a great concept. And they try to throw in kind of puzzly elements. It's not really like your doppelganger stands on a switch while you go do something else. It's not things like that. It's your doppelganger has access to some items and some keys that your real person can't get to. So, you have to send them to go get some stuff while you go and get other stuff. And there's a timer that it's only like 2 minutes long, and it's represented by an hourglass. At any time that timer runs out, you're dead. You just fall apart, both versions of you. And the only way to recharge this timer is there's one room in the castle that if you're standing in the room, you can restart your timer. That was a tremendously poor choice, because what it means is you basically camp one person into the restart the timer room while your ghostly form goes and does everything else, and then your ghostly form comes back to that room, and you just run back and forth getting the rest of the items you need. Problem 2 with the game is your human form is constantly attacked by spiders. And I mean, they follow you from room to room, which makes it incredibly annoying. You can't stop. You have to basically, even if you get them caught on an object and kind of can run around the room independently, if you go through a door, those spiders automatically warp to the next room. So they're a continuous burden, and that it was done to add difficulty in the game, and that's a poor way of doing it. But all that pales in comparison to the absolute worst problem of the game, and this is a problem with isometric games throughout the span of time. The controls are just abysmal. Simple things like walking through doors requires you to be so pinpoint that you will just run into door frames over and over and over. And in some of those rooms, the walls hurt you. Not all of them, but some of them, the walls hurt you. And anytime you get hurt, you lose time because there's not really a health system in the game. So it is unfortunate that they couldn't get this just a little tighter and to have a really good game. Aaron, I know you said that you had some issues with this. Where did you have issues at?
Well, let's step back for a minute.
Okay.
I have played a lot of, you may have heard this, I've played a lot of Spectrum games in the past year. And this game, the second I loaded it up and figured out what was going on, this reminded me so much of like what I would call a typical Spectrum type game. The view, the sort of the out of body thing. We played a game. I wish I could remember the name of it. It was me and Boat played this game. It was like it was the exact same concept, where you had basically you controlled head over heels. That's what it was. In fact, Retro said it in the thing here. It's exactly what I was talking about, Retro. We played a head over heels, exact same concept, but it was more actiony and much easier to control, this game. Now, it was another game that I thought was difficult, but that game is nowhere near as hard as this one is because of the dadgum hourglass.
Yeah.
This thing is unstoppable hourglass. I just hated it. Plus, this game, it controls like you're trying to dock a ship or something. It doesn't control great. You get used to it after a while.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I know. The funny thing about this game, because again, it reminds me of a Spectrum game, it is quite well drawn.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's a good looking, colorful game.
Yeah.
The concept of I don't know if you're having the princess or having an out of body experience.
Not a princess, sorceress.
Sorceress. Okay, that makes more sense. I like the fact that her astral form, she's like Doctor Strange. It's performing tasks. But man, it's tough to get around. It's tough not to take damage. The damage can rapidly stack. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so
you don't get like generated by enemies.
Yeah, you don't get like a measure of safety between attacks. You're instantly are open to get attacked again. The spiders are, oh god, you're right, they're relentless.
Yeah.
These things are relentless. You've never seen intelligent attack spiders like these. And so, and
well, I wouldn't call them intelligent. They're just persistent.
They're intelligent. They're following you room to room. You know, these are smart spiders. These are my nightmare spiders, like in real life, that would pursue you just to get you. I liked a lot of the concepts in the game. I mean, it's a decent idea. Even the hourglass is kind of a neat idea, but you've got to give a beginning player some break. You know, I don't know if after you played this for a while you might get better at it, but my God, I mean, it's right out of the gate you're accosted, you know, and it makes it tough. I know this thing's got tons of rooms and stuff. I was reading about it. There's a lot there.
Yeah, the mansion's huge.
Yeah, and it's and unlike a lot of the specky games like this, I mean, there's every room kind of looks different. There's like different sorts of decorations and stuff.
A lot of them.
I like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the combination of the controls and the damage you take and the small amount you can take before you run out of time, and the fact that it's almost impossible to get your time renewed, you're boned. And it made it hard. Again,
once you find out that if you park someone in that room, you can just switch back to them, hit your timer, and then as long as you're doing stuff in your ghostly form, the timer is almost nothing. The issue is that shouldn't be how it works. I would have been much happier. I think this would have made for a much better game if instead of your timer continuously kicks down, maybe the timer only kicks down if you and your spirit form are separated. Because having the room that restarts your timer essentially does the same thing. You park one person there, you go do all your tasks, you gather up all your items, and then bring the other person there and switch back and do it again. It would have been more entertaining, in my opinion, as long as your two doppelganger forms are together, you restart the timer. So as long as you touch each other, it restarts the timer. I think that would have made for a better game. I think that would have made for a more strategic game. And it would have even made, with the spiders, because you can get a shield item in the game. And that will stop you from taking damage from the spiders, or a lot of other damage too, but mainly the spiders are the big issue. And then lastly, the whole premise of the game that you're collecting ingots, and they're different ingots. It looks like gold and silver type things. What? The what?
Maybe she's stealing them from an evil guy or something.
No, but it's silly. It's silly. This is a game that I feel had a huge potential because they got the graphics. Even the sounds aren't bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Some of when you're getting generated, the sound is kind of a grinding to the ears, but it's not bad. The items in the game, even though I never figured out what some items did, and I certainly did not beat the game.
What?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, huh? But overall, if the controls were better, I think this would have been a much better game. This game actually reviewed okay. It did have reviews that went down into the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
But it also had reviews in 4 out of 5 stars.
Mm.
So I think, of course, this is back in the day of, how much can you trust a review? But from what is the information that is out there, that's what we got. So I wanted to like this game more. Would I emulate? Would I buy this game? No. No, although I could not find it.
Yeah, good luck.
Would I take the time to set up an Amstrad emulator to play this? Probably not. Even though you can go to archive.org and play this.
That's probably the way to go.
Yeah,
unless you've got an Amstrad set up ready to rock and roll.
The unfortunate situation of it all is the controls are so bad that it makes the game not fun.
These isometric games are tough to control anyway. You know,
this requires such precision.
Yeah.
It's just too much. So that's my opinion on it.
We did get a. First of all, you didn't touch the big deal. There's one big deal about this game. I don't think you mentioned it. If you did, I'm apologizing. But they misspelled Doppleganger.
Oh yeah, that was the very beginning. Yeah, yeah, that's one of the reasons I picked it.
Yeah, they misspelled Doppelganger. So that's also that's never good when that happens. We did have a review. Review in our Discord from our good buddy Frodo NL. I keep seeing this guy everywhere I go, Brent. It's like a bad penny. Frodo writes,
"It's a good penny."
Yeah, it starts with spelling the word doppelganger incorrect, and it doesn't get much better than that.
Oh,
which is a shame since I like the idea. The execution is very poor, though. 3 out of 10. He buried it. I guess is what I'm saying. But it was a burial.
You can't say that's wrong because the game is. I would not say the game goes as far as to be unplayable.
Yeah.
But it's frustrating to play, and really that might be worse than unplayable because you try and then just get angry.
Yeah, it is a shame when a game has a lot of potential and then just drops the ball. I will say, this game I will fire this up when we get our Amstrad working because I've got to try this on there just to see if the controls are actually this bad. Because if they're actually this bad, then that's the worst part of the entire thing. The controls were hideous.
Yeah, it is. Reviews have also mentioned that it's.
Yeah, I saw that too. So that's why I said, it's funny. Even as far as because a lot of Amstrad, I guess there were some pretty obscure titles in there. This seems to be a fairly obscure one, Brent.
Oh yes, this is for an exclusive for the system that has very, very few exclusives.
Yeah.
You think this would be kind of boosted, especially within the community, because it has potential. It has, if someone said, this is my favorite game, okay, I can see that. But, yeah, for a game that is an exclusive to Amstrad, it gets very little press, and there's very little out there about it.
So there you go. So try this at your peril. So, I guess I'll take the helm here, Scotty. The next game, the game that I chose this week. Now, you know me, Brent. I swore to you. I said, Brent, I will never again pick a game solely based on the name. What a stupid way to do things. I've done it so many times, and I've gotten burned more than once. But by golly, I had to renege on that rule when I saw the name of this game. It's the island, Brent, of Dr. Destructo. I love it. What a great name. It sounds like one of the B movies I'd see on Mystery Science Theater. Island of Dr. Destructo. This, of course, not an exclusive Amstrad game. This one also got a C64 release. And
a ZX Spectrum.
And a ZX Spectrum. This released in '87, published by Bulldog. This was programmed by a fellow named Eugene Messina. Now, it's funny. I've never heard of Eugene Messina. I'll admit that. But he was responsible for... He did a couple other games. I think these are off the system. Legend of the Sword and Final Battle. But he did work on something I actually had heard of. Virtual Reality Studio from 1991. Because I remember being intrigued by this title. Because I was into virtual reality anything. Of course, it took another couple decades for that ball to get rolling. So he actually worked on something I had heard of. The art on this thing was from a fellow named David Lincoln Howells, who never did anything else on the Amstrad. And this was a cassette. This came out for £1 99p. Budget title, Brent. And this was also involved in multiple compilations and whatnot. So, what do you do in this game? You are a fighter pilot, and you are out to destroy all of Dr. Destructo's stuff. That's the plot. because he's Dr. Destructo. With a name, when your mama names you that, you ain't going to be a good boy. You're going to be bad. Can you imagine raising little Destructo?
Yes, I can.
The terrible 2s, the 3s. My God, his teenage years. It would be a disaster. Never good. It's almost like Dr. No. Any of these doctors that have evil names, you've written their path in stone. So you can't let this guy keep roaming around. You got to take care of business on Dr. Destructo. Take care of business you do. You hop into your plane and you go to work. Let me read you the inlay text from the cassette. You have just 7 days to prevent Dr. Destructo from carrying out his evil plans and launching a massive global attack. Your mission is to destroy the Dr. Destructo and his island stronghold in just 7 days. The buildings and fleet of the Destructo Empire are destroyed from the impact of shot down air and spacecraft, or by bomb, which is allocated to each player per screen. That's all you need to know. That's the game, my friend. This game is an unapologetic arcade throwdown. You play one lone aircraft and you go to work battling hordes, waves and waves of enemy aircrafts. The key to this game is the brilliance of the one game motif. When you blow up an enemy aircraft, their flaming wreckage goes straight down. And when it falls straight down, it falls upon one of Dr. Destructo's many vehicles of destruction. Right? There could be ships. There could be subs. There could be ships that are docked. There could even be islands. There could be castles. Any number of things. 21 screens worth of stuff. And that's what you're up to. Your plane has the ability to shoot a machine gun. It's also got, once per screen, you can drop the big bomb that does damage. You hit the space bar, drop the big bomb. The first, say, 3 or 4 screens of this aren't too tough. They're different types of ships. You've got aircraft carriers and battleships. Each one of them has a name, which I like that too. And one thing this game does is that there's also a day-night cycle, which is awesome. I mean, it really changes the colors of the screen. Dawn comes, the whole 9 yards, and you keep battling. This plane has infinite gas. It's nonstop action. So when you blow 3 holes in the enemy's big thing, aircraft carrier or whatever, it starts to sink. And in a few minutes, you'll hear an alarm go off and it sinks. And when you do that, you move on to the next wave. It's that simple. You start off with like 8 guys. Sounds like a lot, but you can go through them pretty quick. And as the game progresses, the aircraft become more difficult. And you also are confronted with other items. As you move into the upper levels, satellites will come down. Satellites you can't destroy. They just sort of get in your way. There's also blue planes that are out there which you can't run into. You can sort of kind of run over green planes as you shoot them. Blue planes, if you hit them, you'll die. There's also green planes that when you shoot them, they turn into blue planes. There's rockets that shoot across the screen. There's Black Hawk or almost like an Airwolf style helicopters that come out. They try to shoot you. There's also missiles, like I said, big MX missiles, something that shoot across the screen. And eventually you'll get to the point where there's UFOs up there where Dr. Destructo's unleashing his entire armada on you. He brings out the UFOs. All of these things, or not all of them, but for the most part, when you shoot them down, they will fall. Like I said, there are some items that are indestructible. That's the concept. This game could have been in any arcade on Earth. It's a straight. It reminds me so much of like a. It reminds me if someone made a real violent version of Looping. If you remember Looping in the arcade, you remember that one, Brent?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just it's one screen, so there is no scrolling air. I mean, you have very little airspace to operate, and that's what makes the game interesting. You have a very confined space to do your work. It's all about doing loops. It's all about staying low sometimes to avoid the mass of enemies that are coming down. But it's fun. Something else this game's got going for it is 2-player simultaneous team-up action, Brent. You could have you and your friend go in and go to work. In this case, your friend's plane will be kind of a red plane, which stands out good enough. It's pretty simple to keep track of your plane, but occasionally you can lose your plane in the mix. But it's not that tough to figure out. Plus, you're the only thing that's really shooting like you normally would do. I really thought the concept of blowing holes and stuff with the wreckage of these blown up airplanes is a real clever idea, Brent. What were your initial thoughts on this one?
I hated this game. I
What?
absolutely hated it. I played it, and by stage 3, I was so bored. And I had basically seen everything that the game had to offer. Yeah, it throws a few more enemies out there. And yeah, it gets silly. The game doesn't take itself seriously because you sink islands.
Yeah.
You sink, houses. Like, literally, you blow holes in them when water spouts out, just like the ships, and then the whole thing sinks into the water.
Yes.
And that's good. It's good that the game's just kind of, cutesy. You only get one bomb, and sometimes the bomb is, you just throw it and it just goes off the screen. It's gone.
That's true.
Because nothing just falls in this game. It travels 3 or 4 frames, clicks on the screen because they kind of grid up and then fall down, and that's how you do damage. There were several points. You said 7. You start with 7 lives, and you were like, "Oh, you'll go." No, you won't go through those 7 lives. You can beat this game the first time you play it if you want to.
No way. You beat this game?
No, I didn't know. I got by stage 7. I was so bored, I just quit.
This game is real hard.
My lives turned into letters because after every stage you get an additional guy.
Yep.
And you just play and play and play and play. The concept never grows. I just was so bored. So bored. The game's not. Did you think this game was difficult?
Oh yeah, I mean, it not at first. I'd say that it doesn't ramp up in difficulty. It does a good job of showing you the different concepts until about level 5 or so, and then it gets more difficult pretty quick. It's not like mega difficult, but they ramp up. Listen, it's not like you acted like they added just a couple new things. They had a ton. The aircraft changed. There's a lot of stuff going on, man.
No, but whatever's at the bottom of the screen means nothing.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the different stuff that's flying around. You've got like I said, the blue planes, the UFOs, the satellites, the missiles, the helicopters that come out, the yellow bombers that come out. There's a lot of stuff that comes out, and as you go through 21 levels, I think they ramp up the difficulty pretty nicely. And I also don't think I could beat this game just on my first play. It gets pretty freaking hard, man. It's manic, which I like. I like that manic. I like crazy manic action. That's what this is.
You get into a pattern where you keep going figure 8 style, infinity symbol style, if you will, and you just continuously shoot, and then you eventually win, and you go to the next stage, where you start your hourglass or your infinity symbol loop, shooting the entire time, and then you win and go to the next stage. Occasionally, you'll blow up, and you won't know why, and then you go to the next stage. I was so bored, Aaron. I was so bored. Maybe if this was 2-player, and you were,
it is.
I don't know, drunk.
It is 2-player.
No, I know. I'm saying maybe if you playing 2-player and you were, tipsy or an altered mind state, you could get enjoyment out of this. Knowing that it's a budget title, I'll cut it a little bit of slack. But this game has there's nothing. There's no meat. There's no meat on the bone here, Aaron. It's just the same thing over and over and over. And like you said, this is arcade action, right?
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. But you know what's great about arcade games? In 5 minutes, they're over. This game...
Not what I play.
This game is just not difficult enough to be challenging, and it just is so tedious and drawn out. I had no fun with this. I had absolutely no fun with this.
Let me tell you something. You have never been more wrong about any game on this show. You're burying a good game here. This is sweet, sweet arcade action. £2 this was. £2. If you'd paid £2 for this, you'd be laughing all the way to the bank, the money bank. This was grade A action. You're flying around. You're doing all that crazy stuff. You're telling me you didn't have any fun on this? I cannot believe that. It's not too easy. They ramp the difficulty up correctly. The concept behind this is brilliant. The whole blowing up the ship. Yeah, it is. Blowing up the ship with the other planes. I love that. It's clever. You're turning the tables on Dr. Destructo. I love that. The fact that I've got all these different things to blow up.
If all Dr. Destructo had to do to win was ground his air forces. And the Air Force does nothing anyway.
Listen.
90% of the planes literally just fly back and forth.
Do you think a guy with a name like Dr. Destructo is gonna do the right thing? Is he gonna do the arrogant jerk thing? He's Dr. freaking Destructo, man. He's probably reveling in some of this himself. He can't help it. He's Dr. Destructo. That's why this game's great. Arcade action. It's got a concept that you establish instantly. That means you automatically know the rules. You automatically know how you play the game. They ramp up. It's just like a time pilot or something, where they ramp up the aircraft difficulty. Listen, it's
you
very
just insulted time.
It's
pilot.
very similar to Time Pilot. Don't give me that. You've got an aircraft.
Like
you shoot around. You've got aircraft coming at you. They get increase in difficulty. I love that. You've got different enemies you're going after at the end. It's very similar in a lot of ways. It's like if Time Pilot looping had a crazy Amstradian kid. This would be this game. I think
the few things I will give this game, the graphics are really good.
Yeah.
The motion and the fluid controls are good. The sound is passable.
It's pretty good.
And all that kind of stuff, it did fine. It just, I don't know why you would ever stop. I don't know why you would ever play this for, more than 15 minutes.
Fun. That's why. It's a challenge.
This wasn't fun.
It's a
challenge.
Wasn't fun for me. Listen, I want to see your King Dong-esque skills at this game sometime. If you're just breezing through this like there's nothing there, then you must be some sort of super genius of Dr. Destructo, because this game gets tough in those later levels, and you burn through those lives. That's why you get so many. That's what makes it fun. I disagree with you on this one.
I will show you my skills on this game next time we're together, because I would like to see how you played that you were dying so much.
I was not. I had a good.
I saw you play in Chase HQ yesterday.
Yeah.
And Turrican, so I kind of understand. But this game.
Oh, okay. We'll see your Turrican skills too, there, big man.
No, Turrican's a hard game.
Oh, now we turn. Yeah, listen, that right there says it all. So. By the way, I did look at this. GeoSlate just commented this was better on the C64. I did not play the C64 version, but I did look at it. I thought this looked pretty, at least as good, if not better. Personally,
I played the CPC version of this and the Spectrum version of this.
How was the Spectrum version? I didn't even try that one.
The Spectrum version was really good.
Really? Not as colorful, presumably.
Well, I mean, it was blockier. The graphics weren't as good as the Amstrad version.
Did you like? Which one did you prefer?
I mean, that's not fair.
Please. You had to prefer one.
The ZX Spectrum version was more impressive for the system that it was on.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But
listen, the Spectrum's not a TI calculator, man. It can do good stuff. I'm not surprised they could pull it off. We had our good buddy Frodo took a look at this for us. He writes, a simple concept executed rather well. Quite good graphics, way better than both the Specchia and C64 version. I'm not the only one. Limited but functional sounds. While I worry that this will become repetitive in single-player mode, it should be a lot of fun playing with a friend, especially after a few beers. 8.5 out of 10, Brent. Eat it. Eat that. Frodo was on my side. I got some reviews.
I don't know. He's kind of echoed my thoughts.
Oh,
on that too.
Listen, you're echoing your thoughts. It'd be just an empty room. Okay, so the critics gave this thing, the people over at ASM gave the Amstrad version of this a 9 out of 12. All right, not too bad. Yeah, you heard me. Yeah, and AA gave it 77%. By the way, I looked this up on the eBay, Brent. This can be obtained for as little as $1 to $10. And by the way, this retained its value. Show me how many games did that. It's up to 5 times more than its original cost. This did have a sequel, if you can believe that. I think it was I'm not exactly sure who made it. I just literally took a small glimpse. It was not an Amstrad release, so I didn't get into it too much. But they did make a sequel to this, and it was released on like phones. So, and this probably would be a decent little phone game.
Yeah,
given the,
I can see. Well, the controls would be horrible.
Given the real estate of it. Listen, and by the way, to compound Frodo's point, you had enough beer, you can make anything playable. If you know what I'm saying. I'm not. Although I'm more of a bourbon man myself, but it doesn't take as much bourbon. I should mention, Brent, before we move away from the beloved Amstrad, which I personally, this is one of my favorite games I've played on the Amstrad. I really enjoyed this.
Wow. Okay.
And I've been playing a lot of Amstrad recently due to my coin ops build that I've been working on. If you want to pick you up an actual factual Amstrad, Brent, with all the multicolored awesomeness that an Amstrad has to offer, I saw these things going for under $200. I was surprised, man.
I have a question, Aaron, and you might not know the answer to this.
All right, I can't.
The Amstrad. What does it have for video out?
I don't have one here, so I don't know. I don't know what boat's got the Amstrad, so I don't know. I don't remember, and I'm sure maybe somebody in the chat could tell us. Why, you go pick one up?
No, I just if they're under $200, and there was something that you could hook up fairly easy to, you didn't have to have some kind of standard video type thing.
Yeah.
RGB is what Chad is saying. That that's something.
Yeah.
The problem is I just wish Amstrad had more exclusives.
Well,
I really do.
The Amstrad was under developed for, as we've mentioned. Yeah. Also, one thing before we close this down, our buddy, we've got a buddy over in the Discord named Simulant who does some kind of exotic hardware sales. He put together keyboards based on some of these old computers, like the design of them, and his Amstrad keyboard. These are just keyboards you hook like a PC. It looks awesome. The colors on this thing really lend itself. So I would love to see that. He was Kickstartering these. He's going back to retool them. I hope these get released because the Amstrad was my personal favorite. It has a great look, I think, and I think it's a unique looking machine. You know what else is unique looking, Brent? Aside from myself,
you beat me to it.
It's the wheel. It's the wheel, my friend. Let's fire this stuff up. So, Brent, this week we've added a couple beauties, if I may. Let me get this sucker lined up here. So, firstly, on our Retro Rewind, Brent, we've got the TurboGrafx 16. There it is. And our new system this week, and this is another I've never heard of. I'm dreading it. Game King. I am the Game King. I'm going to sing it again right there, 1 through 3.
Your sound's kind of going wacky, so I'm going to go ahead and explain some things about the wheel. We've got 3 pieces on there that are locks. The ZX Spectrum, the 1200 XL, and the TRS-80. If those are spun, they stay on the wheel and they will go for another spin next week. Those are to commemorate our fallen shows that are no longer getting the weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly podcast due to John having to change professions. So, see, we're getting a little bit of lag, but Aaron, go ahead and spin that thing up.
Let's see what we got here. You ready? Here we go. That's a good spin. Oh, the Acorn Electron. The Acorn.
Oh, that's going to make somebody really happy.
Acorn Electron, Brent. Now, what do you know about the Acorn Electron?
Yep. I like acorns, I think.
We're made up of electrons. We got that going for us. What do you I know of the Acorn Electron, but I don't think we've fooled with it that much. And so that will be our system next week. Now, I'm looking forward to that. I've heard a lot, it's one of those systems that pops up every occasion when we're going over like stuff that's supported for other stuff. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm sure the people in chat are much more familiar with the Acorn Electron than we are. So we'll do our best.
Actually, chat seems very, very confused and sort of yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we definitely will. Brent, do you want to do any shout outs to the good fine folks into the chat today? All right, fair enough then. We'll get out of here.
No. Let's go. Let's see if we can find a few lurkers here to talk about.
Your favorite. Oh man, he's all choked up.
I want to say hello to Bum Titty Bum. That guy's gonna get a call out every time. Let's see. We got Lurks here in chat. Pappy's Wills, or possibly Pappy Swills. I guess that would make a little more sense.
Pappy's thirsty.
And a quick shout out to Universe. And then some of our chatters here today. We got Pixels at Dawn, Picard, Curtis, hello. High 7 Chai.
Itch.
I'm gonna go with High 7 Chai. John,
you did not speak
71.
Cool guy.
Duncan Styles, Mitz is in chats. Geo's Lake. Man, we had a ton of people come out. Holy moly. Rousey was in chat. So much chatting going on. Duke.
Retro
and others.
K Pixels. It's a cast of thousands. Dunk. Everybody. We love you all. Picard made it so. All our favorites. Thank you for tuning in to check out ARG. We stumbled through this one. It was a long trip yesterday on the marathon, but I felt pretty good today, Brent. I was ready for some Amstrad action, and now I'm ready for some Acorn Electron action. I'm actually looking forward to this one quite a bit. It should be fun. Any parting thoughts before we put this one to bed, Brentster? Fair enough. Adios, muchachos. We'll catch you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, Destructo on.
Thanks for joining us today. We really hope you enjoyed the episode. We'd like to say hello to all of our YouTube subscribers, as well as all of our Twitch followers. We want to say a special thank you to Duncan Styles, who does all of our awesome Vectric graphics, and to BarkBit for writing our incredible closing theme. Would you like to help keep ARG spinning for as little as $1 a month? You can do so at anchor.fm/ARG-presents. Help keep us spinning. Just like these fine folks. John Deckman, Chris Foles, Frodo NL, Gary Heather, Anthony Jarvis, Graham W. Vetke, John Schaller, Terry Howard, Hermsky, and Retro Algae. Don't want to explain another credit card bill? That's okay too. You can help us by leaving us a positive review on Apple iTunes and Spotify. Have an idea you'd like to add to the wheel? You can contact us at argpresents@mail.com. ARG films live on Twitch every Sunday, 9 a.m. EDT. Hope to see you there.